This week and next week, we celebrate education under the theme, Education Empowers, Creating Change, Nurturing Minds, Embracing the Future. The theme focuses on the enormous potential of education for improving our individual and collective lives, for forming better persons and better communities, for contributing to the social and economic development. Indeed, it is for this reason that governments across the world invest heavily in education. In Belize, where we invest approximately 25% of our national budget in the education sector, we are certainly no exception to this rule. In fact, we may be at the high end of the education investment scale when we consider our education budget as a proportion of our economy. Yet, even as we celebrate and believe in education's transformative potential, honesty demands that we question if education is truly transformative, and if so, for whom? Especially in the face of the long-standing challenges of crime, violence, and poverty that have continued to plague us for many years now. With the latest country poverty assessment showing that poverty increased by nearly 10% over about a 10-year period, can we say that education is truly transformative? With media images and reports, not to mention personal experiences, giving us a regular dose of crime and violence for many, many years now, can we say that education is truly transformative? On the face of it, I think we would be hard-pressed to conclude that education is truly transformative. In response to this apparent disconnect between education and transformative results, there are many who will say it is because we are not investing enough. Yet the record will show that education expenditure has not only increased significantly over the years, but has also enjoyed the lion's share of the national budget without consequential results. And thus it begs the question then of how do we justify the continued heavy investment in education if such investment is not leading to the transformative results we desire? The answer to this question is that education can be truly transformative, and so the challenge is not so much about investing more as it is about doing things differently. Therefore, education in Belize will be truly transformative only if we transform education. That means not investing in a more expensive status quo, but changing the status quo. Over the last 3 years, we in the Ministry of Education and Youth have embarked on a process of transforming the education system so that it can yield the transformative results we speak of in our theme. We have embarked on several major reforms in education. Certainly, if you judge by the controversy and resistance some of our initiatives have generated, you would have to conclude that we are seeking to do things differently, to change the status quo. First and foremost, we reformed the Education Act to create a new Education and Training Act. The new act laid the foundation for several major reforms. Firstly, the unification of the Education Act with the TVET Act underpins our policy goal that aims at the convergence of knowledge, acquisition, and skills development. This seeks the creation of an articulated education system where our young people, our nation's most critical resource, will have greater access to technical and vocational education and training, as well as the arts alongside a solid general education, thus preparing them both for the world of work as well as for higher and lifelong learning and ultimately for life. Secondly, provision of the legislative framework for the Belize Teaching Service Commission is a key reform in our drive to create a high-quality teaching service by enforcing standards in the teaching service while ensuring that teachers are treated fairly and squarely, free from political, religious, or other influence. And thirdly, provision of the legislative framework to the Belize Board of Teacher Education as the body responsible for assuring the quality of our teacher training programs and institutions. I am happy to report that based on the legislative framework established in the new Education and Training Act, both the Belize Teaching Service Commission and the Belize Board of Teacher Education have been established. In tandem with these steps, to build a high-quality teaching service of high status, we have also embarked on programs aimed at increasing the percentage of trained teachers in our schools. Our Certificate of Primary Education will see almost 900 teachers meet requisite qualifications within the next couple of years. More than half of them are in the pipeline or have graduated already. With the support from the European Union, we have been able to target the South for additional teacher training, both at the primary and at secondary level. Furthermore, we have invested in the training of 23 teacher trainers to the master's degree level to improve the quality of training our teachers receive in our training institutions. We will continue to push this agenda. I am also pleased to report that later this year, we'll be commencing the immense task of reforming the secondary school curriculum. We believe this is necessary to afford our young people the opportunity to pursue both knowledge acquisition and skills development that is not just to get a solid general education, but also the opportunity to pursue technical and vocational options as well as other options. We believe that an education should be for the development of self, for the strength of the community, and for life. Why is it that more of our young people can't choose to pursue the skills to be a mechanic, an electrician, a plumber while in secondary school? Why is it that more cannot learn music, the visual arts, or the performing arts while in secondary school? Why is it that they cannot learn to develop apps for cell phones? Why is it that PE is just PE rather than giving our young people a chance to focus on developing skills in a particular sport, in football, in basketball, in track and field? Why is it that we cannot have schools that combine a good, solid general education with options in one or more of these key areas where we can send our best talent to be developed? Perhaps if we listen to our young people a little bit more and offered them opportunities to develop their talents, we would be able to keep them in school instead of losing them on the streets. In this regard, I address directly our young people, inviting their participation in special consultations we will be having later this year to get their ideas about what they would like to experience and learn in our secondary schools. This will be your chance to tell us what it is you desire, what is it you think you need to succeed in school, and to make not only a living, but to make a life. Apart from such curriculum reform, it is our intention to reform the system so that we create an articulated system that affords our people multiple pathways to success and that fosters lifelong learning. And so, I emphasize that this is an immense task that will not be fully achieved overnight and will require a concerted effort over several years. I have every confidence that we in Belize are up to the task, and in my belief that we need to be bold if we wish to change the status quo and to transform education. The proposed secondary curriculum reform also aims at leveling the education playing field by ensuring that all our young people have a sufficiently broad curriculum to choose from. Furthermore, it is complemented by secondary education finance reform, in which we have begun the process of leveling the school financing playing field. It ensures that each secondary school student gets a fair share of public tax dollars, and moreover, it provides additional grants for students with academic or socioeconomic need, thus incentivizing the enrollment and retention of students who might otherwise be excluded. Early informal reports from certain primary schools indicate that this incentive has begun to take effect, as high schools are going to recruit at primary schools they did not normally think of recruiting from before. Furthermore, as part of this finance reform, it is our intention to introduce a performance bonus to be given to high schools who meet certain performance targets. This process of leveling the secondary school finance field is phased over a 5-year period, which began in November of 2010. Of 40 high schools who are participating, 31 or more than 3/4 of them are receiving additional grants to provide the kind of initiatives and programs to ensure student success. Such finance reform was preceded in 2008 by the introduction of the $300 education startup subsidy for qualifying students in first and second form. In the second year of the program, we made this subsidy automatic for all primary school leavers in the Stan Creek and Toledo district, where cost is a barrier to